Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the third and final installment in the rebooted Tomb Raider series of the origin of how Lara Croft becomes the Tomb Raider. From a young woman who ends up on a boat wreck and subsequently gets embroiled into the doings of Trinity, who may or may not have also been involved with her father's death. It all comes to a climax in this third game, bringing that to a close. Now, of course, a new game has been mentioned, so hopefully we'll have a more old-school version of Lara. I hope they continue this with this Lara and Jonah and all that. I love the character of Lara Croft, but I think hopefully we can get a bit more of make her look a little bit more like she did back then and just kick a whole lot of ass. That would be really awesome. However, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, right off the bat, game looks amazing. I played it on an Xbox Series S and literally have not only played it till now, I played the other two when they first released and loved them to death. Rise of the Tomb Raider is, again, a phenomenal game. I'm going to be reviewing these games ass backwards because I have them all on Xbox, but I never completed Shadow, so that's what I'm doing now. But the game looks incredible and runs at, an amazing frame rate. The game looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous on Xbox Series S, and the game plays amazing as well. All the mechanics and the movement and everything taken from the first two games has been refined for this one so that you can just
early 20th century
raid tombs, and it just feels great with the way Lara just interacts with everything. Of course, there's crafting and exploration galore in this game, which is amazing, and you can just upgrade all the weapons that you get, and you can also get hold of new pieces of clothing that Lara can wear, which will grant you special buffs and etc. There's optional optional crypts, and challenge tombs again, which will unlock special skills and other good rewards and stuff. I actually enjoyed the story. I thought it was pretty cool with Lara. You're heading to Peru this time, and through a series of events, Lara gets hold of a dagger that she shouldn't have, and she triggers a whole seam of cataclysmic events that she has to stop Trinity from remaking the world completely. And she's dealing with a lot of guilt because she was the one that brought this on, but at the same time she has to keep pushing on. And Lara she's just kick-ass. She's guided with her friend Jonah from the first two games, and he kind of keeps her on the straight and narrow. And at times, he does seem a little bland, a little boring at times, but he is what grounds Lara down. There's loads to find, like artifacts, and you can learn other languages as well to level Lara up and just use those skill points to unlock more tricks and skills for her. Of course, the death animations are still brutal, so you really don't want Lara to die because she dies in spectacular fashion. Like I said, with upgrading equipment and clothing and all that at the fireplaces, being able to fast travel between the campsites as well, which can help you with exploring, because some places cannot be explored without certain upgrades and skills, so you're going to want to return to a lot of places if you want to 100% it. It's really cool how Lara gets covered in the mud and blood and all that kind of stuff just gets stuck on her and then washed off in water. You can also smear mud all over yourself and go Rambo and hide up against walls with a knife, or the stealth action is back, and the stealth is really, really good in this game. There are a lot of sections that do force it on you, where you have to do it, otherwise you just get slaughtered. But apart from that, it's just really satisfying to be able to shank people in a game, obviously, but definitely as Lara. Like I said, the movement is great, and the way Lara interacts with doing the stealth or swimming through the water and trying to evade predators that way, or just everything. The way Lara interacts with all the environment, it just feels great. The facial animation and voice acting is great, especially for Lara. I feel her facial animations got the most attention, as well as her hair, which is not a bad thing. It's pretty cool. But Lara feels alive, and she always has, even from the first game. She just feels alive and almost like you're watching and playing a real person, and I think that's pretty cool. Again, between Jonah and Lara, there are some great and really cool character moments, especially one where they're sat at a fireplace and they're just talking, and it's really good. It does bring it back. I think the story of this game isn't as good as the other two, but it's still good. It's not amazing for the third and final game in her prequel trilogy. I think it could have been a bit more, but for what we got, I thought it was pretty cool. You can unlock loads of different costumes and whatnot for Lara to wear, including the original Tomb Raider 2 costume. That alone is awesome. Tomb Raider 2 was the first Tomb Raider game I played, and being able to have the costume for here and for the Tibet level, and also you can have it from Angel of Darkness, but we don't talk about Angel of Darkness, and there's loads of other cool costumes that you can equip. But this is, if you get the definitive version, so they are DLC, but the definitive version always goes on offer for about a tenner, and this game is well worth a tenner. You're looking at about 35 to 40 hours to 100% it if you just want to crack on with the story to start with, because you do unlock New Game Plus. It's between 12 and 15 hours, and it does go really insane and cool and action movie-ish towards the end, which I did like. But, you know, like I said, the game, I don't know, something did feel lacking. There are merchants in this game where you can sell ore that you can find, gold ore and all that kind of jazz, and jade ore, and you can also buy new pieces of clothing and weapons and ammo and the such like, and like extra pouches to up the ammo count that you can carry, or the quiver amount so you can carry more arrows. And they put in some side missions as well, which I think is really, really cool. I did hit a couple of little bugs involved when around climbing, nothing on the scale of like Assassin's Creed Unity, for example, but they were there, they were present, and occasionally she'd get a bit wobbly, but it was few and far between, and didn't really hinder my enjoyment of the game at all in the slightest. There's still tombs, there's still puzzles, there's still cool combat. The game looks gorgeous. You know, Lara Croft, there's a cool scene you know, at the beginning of this video I edited in a little bit of it where Lara switches onto badass, and it's really cool when because it reminds me of how cool and badass she was back in the 90s with the original Tomb Raider games, and I'm just hoping with the new Tomb Raider we get a little bit more of that. But I'll have a video coming out about the new Tomb Raider game and what I hope they do with it separately. But for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I had an absolute blast playing through it, and I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10. It's got some repetitive sections in it, and they do force a lot of swimming on you and a lot of chase scenes, as well as some sections of the game where you just, if you have to do super stealth, otherwise you'll get gunned down instantaneously. But apart from that, and a couple of little odd glitches, a very, very enjoyable action third-person game, and one that I highly recommend. But thank you very much for watching this review, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Lara, Trinity guards are coming your way.